Welcome. In front of me I have the Samsung Galaxy A27 5G, and I'll be going over unboxing along with a quick look at the phone, its specifications, build quality, and give you my thoughts and opinions about it as I check it out myself. Okay, just to quickly mention, like always, I'm not sponsored by any kind of brand right here, so what I will be saying about this device is just strictly my own opinion and no one else's. So with that out of the way, let's get into it. I guess Samsung decided not to put pull tabs anymore. It's not like they got those figured out anyway, so inside we get obviously the phone. Oh, there we go. So here's the device. Let's boot it up. Oh, there we go. Now inside of the box right here, we also get our paperwork along with a Type-C to Type-C cable for charging, and that's about it. So let's move on to the phone. So I do want to quickly check something out before I get any further. Which is going to be obviously the price. So this device is about 1500 PLN, which is, wow, that's at this point 400 US dollars. Damn. Okay. So in any case, so we have 1500 PLN, or roughly $400. That is already including tax, so that's pretty good. And let's now get into it with that perspective of price, which this is on the lower end of prices. Just to kind of explain this, it's not the lowest. Like some cheap phones, like really cheap ones, cost like $100. So this obviously is like nearly 4 times more to what those cost, like the cheapest ones. And it actually competes with some other devices like the Pocos. Let me quickly check how. Okay, this one is a little bit more expensive. Can I quickly check just so I have the full understanding on the price that we're looking at? And while I'm doing that, I'm actually just gonna pause the video, so you don't need to listen to me just do absolutely nothing. Okay, so I got it checked out, and I'm first gonna talk about this device before I bring the other one in, so you have full understanding of what are we looking at. So for the price of about $400, you get a 6.7 inches display and size, Super AMOLED, 120 Hz refresh rate with a screen to body ratio of 86.8% screen to body ratio. And you can see we do have these little bit old looking bezels at the bottom specifically, and they're also not symmetrical, which is something that nowadays most manufacturers do. They make them symmetrical so it looks better, and these bezels usually are a little bit closer to that 90% mark nowadays. So this is falling a little bit behind, and I do want to give Samsung props with their like S lineup, which I've been daily driving. Their bezels on this phone, which I won't be able to show just because my actual screen protector is making it a little bit thicker than it actually is, but I'm still just going to demonstrate it a little bit. So there we go. Just you can see these bezels are absolutely minuscule, and these aren't even like the full. You can see at the bottom right here, this bezel here looks a little bit smaller than the one that is on the sides. That's the actual tempered glass that has this like weird little frame around it. These bezels are, I believe, about what we have right here at the bottom, all around. So Samsung has one of the like nicer kind of screen to body ratios. So having a phone like this one just kind of looks bad, considering this device came after the one that I have right there. Anyway, let's continue on. So with the display, we have no certifications whatsoever labeled right here, like HDR Plus or for instance Dolby Vision or anything. But we do have Gorilla Glass Victus Plus, March level 5, and well, that's about it. Now, this display is a little bit underwhelming, but it's not bad. It has everything that you would want from it, like the high refresh rate and it being AMOLED display with relatively good screen to body ratio. Now, if we move over to the cameras, which for phones nowadays I would say it's more of a personal preference, which one you prefer, how much processing you want. I genuinely at this point don't even like phone cameras. That might be like a wild take, but when I take a photo, I want that photo to be taken by me, not reimagined by bullshit AI. Fuck AI. You know what? Altman can shove that shit up his ass. I don't want that garbage. But at this point, every company and everyone on the planet, including probably your grandma along with the dog, is using the AI because why the shit not? It's crammed down your throat, so you might as well. And you might be even using it without knowing it. Like when it comes down to photos. Most phones nowadays, as far as I can tell, use AI to upscale the images to make them better. So basically companies are skimping out on hardware and trying to make up the difference with software in a way, or just AI. I hate that. You know what? At this point, you can fuck off with this garbage and I'll just use a camera, mirrorless camera for this, and not really touch the phone's cameras at all, because I despise it. When I take a photo on the phone, I want it to be taken by me, not reimagined by AI. Anyway, talking about these cameras right here, we have 50 megapixel f1.8 wide sensor, 5 megapixel ultra wide, and 2 megapixel macro. So that macro shouldn't even be counted because 50 megapixel wide one will capture better macro photos than the 2 megapixels. So that's kind of useless sticker camera. And you can do 4K 30 in terms of recording and also 1080p 30, which is a little bit underwhelming, while the selfie at the front is a 12 megapixel f2.2 wide sensor that does only 1080p 30 frames. You can probably see there is no 60 whatsoever anywhere here, which again for this price, and considering it's Samsung, it is a little bit disappointing. A little bit kind of price gougy. So that's that. Now, if you move over to the internals, the phone again maintains the typical Samsung logic, which is just get your customers and take them from behind absolutely raw, no lube needed. So 5,000 milliampere battery, absolutely pathetic for a phone like this. 25 watts of charging speed, an absolute insult for current times 2026. This is unacceptable in my opinion, even at a $400 budget phone like this, which $400 isn't necessarily that much of a budget. It's close to, like, I would say mid-range. Anyway, other than that, we have 6 to 8 gigabytes of RAM inside and 128 to 256 gigabytes of storage. Now, the storage is, luckily, which is kind of weird considering it's Samsung, expendable using, using an SD card, which you can see right here. So at least you have that benefit. So one more thing to go over in terms of the internals is the processor. The processor powering this is the Snapdragon 6 Gen 3. So again, very close to like the low end of processors, nothing super good, not even close, I would say. So for $400 again, it's a little bit of a disappointment what this device offers. And we're just strictly right now talking about hardware. Software as a whole thing, and software is very person to person dependent. Like, you might absolutely adore the One UI, or you might absolutely hate it. So I'm not really going to talk about much of the software because it is what it is. Every phone has its own kind of version of it for the most part. And if you're going for the software and that's really what you're buying this phone for, then what I will be recommending doesn't really make much of a difference, because whatever I'll recommend will not have One UI, as it's not going to be even a Samsung. But in any case, there's also no mention of what the kind of storage type we have in here with that 120 to 56 gigabytes of storage, which I can only presume it's nothing great. That's why it's probably like UFS 2.2, so not good, but this is just guess. Build quality, also nothing really like outstanding. We have plastic frame, plastic back by the looks of it. Let's see, front. Oh no, sorry. The back is actually glass as well. So corner Glass Victus Plus as well, just like the front. Glass front, back, plastic frame. We have fingerprint sensor on the power button, volume rockers right above that, which again, considering it's Samsung, it's kind of surprising that we don't have under display fingerprint sensor. So it is an AMOLED display after all. At the top we have just I believe this is a noise cancellation microphone and nothing else. Then on the left side we get that SIM SD tray. Now the phone actually takes either 2 SIM cards or 1 SIM card, 1 SD card, because one of the trays is interchangeable. And then bottom we have that Type-C charging port, speaker, and another microphone, and well, that's everything that there is to the build quality. Some of the shortcomings right here that I would say is the fact that the phone has 5000 mAh battery, which means that it doesn't have silicon carbon battery, which is a little bit of a drawback considering we're looking at the price point of $400, a slow processor, a crappy memory, and pretty dated looking design, along with kind of poor build quality. Now, one more thing when it comes down to build quality is the IP rating. So we have IP64, dust tight, and water resistant, but water resistant meaning water splashes, not submergible. So with that out of the way, hardware wise, this device falls short. That's how I look at it. And the reason I think this device falls short is because competition exists, and competition is absolutely great. It just seems that Samsung hasn't realized that other competitors actually exist, and potentially this is due to the fact that stupid cunts like me, for instance, buy phones like this. That was the last time though. So let me bring into the view, not physically, I don't have the phone on me. The Xiaomi Poco X8 Pro enters the picture here, and that phone costs less than what we have right here. I want to absolutely stress this. That phone costs about $50 less, and for about $350, including tax, mind it, you get a phone that absolutely embarrasses what Samsung has made right here. And I'm going to try to go as quickly as possible through this. But IP ratings, let's start with that, are better. We have IP69K, which means that it's submergible up to 1.5 meters for 30 minutes. And it's also pressure, water jets, high pressured splat, certified with dust tight and all that jazz. We have AMOLED display, that same thing that we have here, with a better screen to body ratio, meaning that these kind of disgusting bezels at the bottom and sides are much smaller on the other device. And also it has a benefit of having 68 billion colors, 3840 Hertz pull rate for touch responsiveness, a Dolby Vision certification along with HDR10 Plus certification, and peak brightness of whopping 3,500 nits. So we already have some benefits right here just in a display alone, and keep in mind that phone costs less. But that's not the only benefit you get. Next one will be the battery life and just battery size. We have 6,500 mAh battery, which is 1,500 more than we have right here, because the phone is using silicon carbon battery, because unlike Samsung, they decided not to be a greedy cunts and skimp out as much as possible and buy the cheapest shit possible on the market right now. And on top of that, unlike Samsung, which has been failing in this kind of aspect, the phone can charge at 100 watts. Great, it can charge 4 times faster than what we have right here, and again, it costs less than this. So let's be honest, Samsung is probably still scared. They still probably wake up at night just sweating, balls sweaty and all that jazz, just afraid that their phones might blow up. But phones might not blow up, but their earbuds now do, and rings. So that's great. So it seems like they're just keeping the charging speeds low, so their phones don't, again, become a IEDs in people's pockets. So obviously Xiaomi improves on that quite significantly by giving you bigger battery and faster charging, like way faster charging, which is fantastic. And again, we're not done yet. At the lowest end, you're getting 8 gigabytes of RAM up to 12. This has at the lowest 6. So again, you get out of the box more RAM and out of the box double the storage, as the phone starts off with 256 gigs of storage instead of the 128. It also goes up to half a terabyte with 12 gigs and comes with UFS 4.1, which is pretty good. Again, another improvement there. Camera-wise, it only has 2 cameras at the back, which is a 50 megapixel f1.5, 26 millimeter wide lens, and 8 megapixel ultra-wide. But unlike this device, it can record 4K 60 and 1080p up to 960 frames of slow motion. And the selfie is a 20 megapixel that does 1080p 60. So it basically covers 60 on every basis right here, unlike this phone, which doesn't even offer 60 frames per second of video recording anywhere. So for video recording smoothness, obviously this is shittier. Again, it costs more. So now if we move to the last thing that I would say, which is like the biggest nail in the coffin for this piece of junk, is going to be the processor. The Poco X8 Pro comes with a Dimensity 8500 Ultra processor, which is closer to the higher end. The only, I believe, next step for Dimensity is the 9000 series, which is like the top of the top, basically the best flagship processor that they have, which is the fastest thing that you can get, equivalent to something like the Snapdragon 8 Elite. Now here, or 8 Elite like Gen 5. Basically, what that device offers is something closer to that 8 Elite, not the Gen 5, which is like the last year's model of the flagships processors. It's a fantastic processor. This, if you remember, comes with a Snapdragon 6 Gen 3. So not only is it like older generation, it's also one of the lowest kind of shit you can get, while that Poco, which again costs less, comes with something that is at the tippy-toppy of performance. For reference, what that actually means for you, opening applications, getting anything done on the phone will be much faster, much snappier. Everything that you do will feel instantaneous compared to what we have right here. So again, it costs less and gives you way more. It punches way above its weight. So one last thing, build quality. We have aluminum frame, unlike the plastic one right here, and I believe we do have plastic back on that device. And there is no wireless charging. Neither does this one. So okay, but yeah, aluminum frame, plastic back, and obviously glass front. So that will be a absolutely phenomenal device if you are not hell-bent on Samsung and their One UI. If you don't mind venturing to other brands, you will get a phone that is insanely better than what you get right here for less money. I am genuinely surprised that Xiaomi even sells them at this price, considering anyone else would sell this phone at like $700 to $800. Xiaomi is like, nah, screw that, we're just gonna offer it for like half that price. And if they can offer it at that price and most likely still make a profit, it just gives you a perspective on the market, especially when it comes down to market like from Samsung. Samsung makes their own panels. Like the AMOLED displays, those are Samsung's. So not only are they manufacturing some of their own components, they have the audacity to price gouge you on those. While something like Xiaomi, for instance, would need to buy the displays from either Samsung or some other brands, LG or whatever. I honestly have no idea who they purchase the displays from, but they don't make their own. So they need to buy it from someone, and yet they still manage to make the price low enough for that phone to be super affordable and super good. And just for reference though, obviously Xiaomi will be doing some data gathering like most applications and all that shit, but Samsung does the same thing. They do give you ads, Samsung does as well. So for kind of comparison, Samsung seems to be like, trying to show that they're standing outside of the crowd, but they do the same like predatory bullshit as everyone else. Just everyone else has, at least like Xiaomi has the decency to not try to also key with the price, as they will be making enough profit from the data that you generate that they will be selling. And it can be sure shit that they will be selling that data, as companies do make an absolutely moronic amount of money from just selling the data that you generate using their devices. I mean, I believe Hisense was the one that which sells TVs, which generated, double or triple the revenue from selling data than they did from selling those TVs that gathered that data. So should give you an understanding on what the market is all about, really. And in the real truth, considering we're looking at such a moronic kind of prices for your data being what you generate, I would argue that these phones should be at this point free, considering we're the product that is generating them revenue. But that's just kind of my up the ass kind of approach to this. But like I said, Xiaomi there, absolutely fantastic for what it offers. And when it comes down to privacy and all that stuff, it's about the same as everyone else. At least they have the decency to kind of tell you that they're going to be doing it. So that's great. Anyway, so once again, that was the X8 Pro. And just to add, like I said, I am not sponsored by Xiaomi or anyone else. I just genuinely believe that device is an absolute steal when it comes down to value, what you get in terms of hardware, to how much you need to pay. And this should be probably pretty obvious, considering I did try to go over in detail like what the differences are and price differences as well. So anyway, that's about it. Now, if you found this very helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.